Hello, I'm Jamie Lee Brown, and today we'll be presenting the final design of our hammock hook.
I'm Teddy Dannon.
I'm AJ Pandia.
And I'm Grady Fort. The design problem that we attempted to solve with our FED project is holding lightweight objects while vacationing in a hammock. The internet showed examples of ways to hold phones above a hammock, but we thought, why just a phone? From the initial design modeled in SolidWorks, we initially added more curves. This would allow the JTAG hammock hook to easily fit in a pocket and be more portable. Once it was 3D printed, it was not sturdy enough, however, so we increased the thickness on the third design. For the fourth and final design, we made the hammock hook more L-shaped and added a GoPro attachment device. As you can see in this SolidWorks assembly, the red GoPro adapter allows the hammock hook to attach to a multitude of objects. The white object is an example of a phone holder, which could be tilted up and down for easy viewing in a hammock. The 3D printed parts were assembled as follows. The hammock hook was printed in 4 parts, more on that later. The second object was the GoPro adapter, which screws in to the phone holder. As you can see here, this is the non-3D printed part, a GoPro thumb screw. And finally, the assembled components.
Here you can see how we have multiple uses for our object. We can attach objects like a mesh bag to it. You can also add the phone holder to it, so hold your phone. And you could also add a hat or other clothes to, like, if you get it wet, you can let it dry on the hook. And here are some final design close-ups. You can see that the phone is securely in the phone holder and the phone holder is securely in the hook. Here you can see the setup of it on the left. You can see a far out view from it. In the middle, you can see how it's great to watch movies if you're just laying back and want to watch a video or something. And then on the right, it's just, you can see how it's not really efficient to use your hands. You might as well just take it off the hook if you want to constantly use your hands. So we had a few design challenges. So our main design challenge was trying to figure out how to attach different devices to the hook. So first we started with the ball joint, but the problem with that is that it printed flat on one side and there weren't very many objects that could attach to a ball joint. And so next we thought of the screw hole, but the problem with that was that the threads inside the hole wouldn't print well and they're very flimsy. And finally, we ended up with the GoPro slot, which was much easier to print, a lot more versatile, and a lot more secure since it uses a middle screw. And then printing the final product, we had a little issue because the hook points printed separately, so we had to glue them together.
Next steps. So as Jay was saying, we would start by continuing our design process where we identify any weaknesses in the design, such as when it's difficult to use your phone for other things, and currently the other attachments for the device are limited. Second, we would come up with an improved design where we would create even more attachments like a hook or a carabiner. We'd use stronger materials, and our goal is to overall decrease our filament use to make it a little cheaper and easier to print. Finally, we would also find a way to affix the hook to the line to prevent wind from swaying it too much. Thirdly, we would reprint the design. And then fourth, if we find that the market is profitable enough, we could even consider selling it on a market like Etsy. What could we have done differently? If we were to have another chance, it would have been really nice to have met in person, but obviously COVID prevented us from doing that. We could also take advantage of the numerous entrepreneurial and design resources that are offered on campus. Ideally, we could have distributed our share of work a little bit differently to better accommodate for each person's strengths. We also could have designed the hammock hook in a way that printed a little bit better, and overall, we could have spent more time in the brainstorming process so we had a more defined image before we started designing.
The first thing we would all highly recommend for next year's freshman class working on this project is to reach out to all your teammates early on and get their contact info to establish some form of a texting group chat. We use this to establish a weekly meeting schedule. We met pretty much every Monday at noon to talk about what needed to do that week, and this helped us keep up with all our deadlines and manage our time well. Some weeks we didn't even have to get anything done, but it was nice to still consistently meet to confirm that and discuss our next steps. The last thing we would recommend to future groups, as Teddy mentioned, is taking advantage of the entrepreneurial and design resources offered on campus to learn about the entire design process of designing your product and presenting it to a group for final production.
Between the trees, rest at ease. Thank you for watching our Fed presentation.